The fossil record is a historical record of the programming of life on the Earth. Preserved deep within the rock layers, we find millions of organisms which all started from a single cell, but through the genius of real computer programs, DNA and RNA, they have developed into incredible organisms. The probability of forming the simplest single-cell life without taking into consideration the programming within the cell has been estimated as 1 part in 10 to the 340 millionth power. That number is far beyond anything to which we can relate, since there are only an estimated 10 to the 80th atoms in the entire universe. The probability of forming a multicellular organism by chance processes is truly incalculable, and the formation of millions of species, each with a multitude of differentiated cells, is truly incomprehensible. In the mid-1800s, there was a discovery made in the fossil record known as the Cambrian explosion. The Cambrian explosion was an abrupt, rapid appearance of most major phyla, displaying a major diversification of fully formed organisms in that era, an era which makes up less than 0.1% of the history of life on Earth. In his book, The Blind Watchmaker, Richard Dawkins says it is as though they were just planted there, without any evolutionary history. Chinese paleontologist J.Y. Chen, who lectures around the world, stated recent fossil finds in China are inconsistent with the Darwinian theory of evolution. And British paleontologist Bud Graham said the expected Darwinian pattern of deep fossil history, stretching millions of years into the Precambrian, has singularly failed to materialize. Through millions of drilling and excavation sites, building projects, and scientific endeavors which have taken place all over the world, we have uncovered billions of exceptionally preserved organisms, and after careful investigation, few have ever been shown to be a transitional fossil, though millions should be present. Paleontologist and evolutionary biologist Henry G. noted that to take a line of fossils and claim that they represent a lineage is not a scientific hypothesis that can be tested, but an assertion that carries the same validity as a bedtime story, amusing, perhaps even instructive, but not scientific. The Cambrian explosion shows us that there was a point in time when there was a sudden increase of fully formed, highly programmed organisms with no prior evidence of evolution or transitional fossils. With a century of intensive collecting behind us, we now know these exceptionally preserved biotas occur globally. So how did such an abrupt explosion occur in the Cambrian fossil record with no prior evidence of evolving fossils? Since the release of Darwin's book On the Origin of Species, published in 1859, our scientific techniques, technology, and discoveries have advanced by leaps and bounds, showing us that Darwin was wrong on his ideas of the origin of species. Natural selection cannot explain the existence of millions of living organisms, each of which contain millions of unique computer programs controlling the information of life. Scientists, students, and critical thinkers alike are examining and questioning how such exquisite programming could arise by chance processes.
If we base our science on false ideas and things that are not shown to be true, then we basically are building science on philosophy and not on evidence. And we need to get back to where we go where the evidence leads.
Following Chen's announcement of his Cambrian fossil research, German biologist Dieter Walassek declared while rallying his Western colleagues around him, "It doesn't matter if you find it or not. It's there. It's by law. All of the major taxa should have been there in the Precambrian, whether proved or not." The idea of valuing a theory over data is unscientific, and because this is not an isolated incident, it's giving Western science a bad name.